Hello and welcome to the first of my recordings from my Patreon monthly book club. I'm Stephen Heiner, and I'm going to ask that you be patient with me. This is the first time that I've ever done book reviews for a camera, for an audience, so if you'll just be patient with me, I promise I will get better as time goes on. The object of these book reviews is to serve as a complement to the monthly book discussions that we'll be doing online and via video chat. These reviews will simply be myself talking to you, talking to the camera, and I'll try to do something a little different in these, in that the book clubs will be about substantially sized books, usually 200-300 pages or more sometimes. And what I'll try to do in these reviews is do works that are a bit shorter, allowing you to possibly take two different books on in a given month, and also from a different genre. If my great book series and the monthly book clubs series is something that's focused on bigger, larger, more classical works, the reviews that I do may be more contemporary, more modern, or sometimes, as for the selections that I have today, something that falls directly into the sorts of books and texts that we would normally cover in the Great Books Club. So, without further ado, I'm going to talk about our two titles for today, which come from Penguin. Well, they don't come from Penguin, but the editions that I have are Penguin editions. The first is Leo Tolstoy's How Much Does a Man Need? And it's part of this wonderful commemorative series put together by Penguin to commemorate the anniversary of their founding. You can see on the back, 80 pence was the price. And you can buy, I think, the entire set of these. You can find them on Amazon or eBay, different places. And then this one, which is perhaps a bit overpriced for Penguin, but it's a selection from Seneca on the shortness of life. Now, why do I like Penguin in particular, and why are you more likely to find Penguin editions if you look on my bookshelves than any other? Penguin's original mission was to deliver world classics inexpensively, and that's something that very much appeals to me. I love books, and I love being able to get a hold of great editions inexpensively, but also bound in a quality manner. And these two editions are different sides of that Penguin legacy. So this one bound and in a look and feel of the original Penguin editions. So this is a bit of an homage and priced appropriately. So 80 pence. I think I bought it for a pound, maybe a pound when I bought it in London. And then this one, I think, probably just smart marketing on their part. Seneca and Stoicism has been made more popular in recent times, and this is part of a great ideas series. And so what they've taken is different important ideas and put it into a slim, accessible volume rather than have you read an entire thicker version of the text. So more marketable, interesting, very modern looking cover that's just the words itself. So both of these are texts that I want to talk about today. The first one is Tolstoy's How Much Land Does a Man Need? It's a short story. It's 52 pages here, which is not what you're used to. I think you probably can't see it, but that black book there is War and Peace. So about 1,000 pages, 900 something more than How Much Land Does a Man Need? But it's a very famous story. If you speak with Russians, it's a story that they're going to be familiar with, they're going to know, and they're going to be very surprised that you know about it because it's not something that's very known in the West. But it is exactly as the text, as the title puts forward, How Much Land Does a Man Need? It's a story about a man who is seeking to enlarge his fortune and what befalls him. I really don't want to spoil it, and it's only 52 pages, so you have no excuse not to read it. And you don't need to get them. I know I'm going on and on about how much I love the Penguin editions, but you can obviously get it on Kindle. There are some texts that I just like to have, and when you have a good edition, it's nice to be able to carry with you and reread. So that's all I really want to say. You're going to be able to say you've read a Tolstoy, and it's short, and it's a very memorable story, and has lots of implications, and especially because I'm recording this video in December, it's something to think about for the upcoming year as you think about your your goals and your desires and what you've accomplished this year and what you hope to accomplish in the next year, there are a few texts that you could read that would be better suited to those sorts of reflections than How Much Land Does a Man Need? So strongly recommended. This isn't how I'll treat these reviews in the future, but because of the text itself and because I'm just getting started in this format, I'm going to be very spare in my discussion of it and simply say, read it, it's a good read, you'll thank me later. The companion to that is Seneca's On the Shortness of Life, which there very famously is an annotated version, I think, by Tim Ferriss. So Tim Ferriss took this text, put it into a blog post, and I think commented on it. And he's been somewhat of an apostle of Stoicism himself. If you don't know about the Stoics, the bad rap version that I got in school was that they are people who are anti-emotion, they're very cold, and I don't think this is true or fair. The idea for me behind Stoicism is that emotions occur, but do not let them rule you. That emotions are a regular part of life, but they should not be given free rein. It's the opposite of the Epicurean school of philosophy. So on the shortness of life, there are many famous phrases. I'm just going to read a few of them that really resonate, and as I say, are a great companion piece. So for a fictional short story, along with a nonfiction philosophical essay, I think these are great companion pieces for you, again, to think about how this year has gone for you and what you'd like to see different. And I suspect, especially in the year of 2020, some of these will resonate, some of these quotes will resonate with you even more than they might normally. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested. We are not given a short life, but we make it short. You don't notice how much time has already passed, but squander it as though you had a full and overflowing supply. When I am 50, I shall retire into leisure. When I am 60, I shall give up public duties. And what guarantee do you have of a longer life? Who will allow your course to proceed as you arrange it? So, for those who come from a Christian background, there's a lot in the Stoics that will sound very familiar to them. A resignation to what happens to you in life. Obviously, Christianity sees this through the lens of providence, whereas the Stoics, being pre-Christian, well, not entirely pre-Christian, but in their origin pre-Christian, don't see providence, but rather fate. But the idea of surrendering to it is the same as the Christian response. The Christian response is not to fight providence, and the Stoic response is not to fight fate. Fate is. It's simply something that happens, and we can choose whether we make good or ill of it. The idea of the world as passing, as our life as passing, something not to cling on to. Again, this is something that will resonate for Christians very much, and is something that is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. Again, as with the other title that I'm recommending today, the clue is in the title. If How Much Land Does a Man Need is a short story about how much land does a man need, the essay On the Shortness of Life by Seneca is going to be a helpful thought experiment, meditation, however you want to look at it, onto the shortness of life. And rather than be something dreary and sad and depressing, it's actually, I think, something that's uplifting. It's a reminder of really how little time we have and how silly we are to think that we have a lot of it. People, again, talking about, well, when I retire, ... Who knows that you are going to live? I often tell people, better people than you and I have already passed on. And as we hear in this text, provided I can keep my mind always directed upwards, striving for a vision of kindred things, what does it matter what ground I stand on? So rather than being something depressing like, oh, you're going to die and you're running out of time, it's an exhortation for us to make the most of the time that we have, and to do something worthwhile with our life rather than chasing empty honors and possessions that you'll leave, and the praise of people who will forget about you the minute that you're gone. So, as I say, if you please forgive my rough style, this is the first time that I'm doing these reviews. Give me feedback on what I could do better, books that you'd like to see covered in these book reviews, and if you're interested in seeing what a book discussion looks like, in which people have read the text and are able to share in a way that's open-minded without being shot down for asking so-called dumb questions. What I love about book clubs is the ability to learn from everybody, and you're welcome to join us on Patreon. The link will be in the description below.